Hello there. In today's video, I am going to show how I re-level my rifle scopes after I have taken the rifle apart, done a yearly check, sometimes twice a year. You know, take the action out of the stock, double check everything, make sure there's, nothing gumming it up or nothing going wrong, look for cracks, etc. Check all your bolts and screws. Along with this, most of the time I will take the scope off, not take it out of the rings. I will remove the base, double check everything, put everything back, new Loctite, new torque settings, put it back on. This year I am actually going to be taking scopes out of rings as well. Again, double check everything, look for damage, make sure there's no issues underneath the rings on the scope, etc. Put everything back together, re-level, and then of course I'll have to go shoot, double check zero, etc, etc. So, here we go. Okay, so I've got things ready. So I've used the wrench and I've loosened off the scope, and got some other tools if I need them, so we'll take the scope off. The first thing you need to do is we have the level on the scope, and we might have to reset that, but you have to make sure your work area is level. Now, if you can see it on here, yes you can. Okay, so I have two levels on my trusty table. So let's get the table level. There we go. Table is level. Okay, there's two separate levels telling me the table is level. In fact, you can't see it from here, but the level on the scope is level. So that's good. Now, if you can see it, yeah, you can a little bit. Okay. I'm going to take the cap off. Most well-made scopes, if everything is built properly, this cap, this turret, not so much the cap, but the turret, is level. So I just moved this to a different spot on the table. It's still fairly level. I'm not sure if you can see that. I doubt you can. So now this has a magnet on it, this one, which doesn't help with aluminum. This is aluminum. This is plastic. So okay, so you can see now the level on here is, this isn't exactly level, it's a little bit, and that one is there. That level slightly, but not much. Okay, so things are a little off, but that's why we're doing this. Okay, so now, if the machining was done right on this barrel, which is steel, I could use the magnetic one. We will. Okay, there's that one. Okay, so it's within the lines. It's close. Okay. Now, we're playing with something that's not meant for what we're doing here. So let's just get away from it. But here we go. Okay, so just to let you know. All right, so we'll put this one back. And I mean the table is fairly level. Now, this is where it matters, right here. Okay. So, we need that to be level. How we do that, now, the bipod isn't exactly straight. There we go. Way off. Okay, so what we do is we're going to change the height of the bipod. Now we may have to do something different here. See? I'll turn it again. Okay. And there we go. So, there we go. That's showing up. We've determined that this is Yep, that's level. The rifle's level. The table is level. Okay, so now we've determined that the scope and the level that's on the scope are within reason. We're going to have to make some changes, but let's just see how things sit when we reattach the scope to the rifle. Okay. Okay. Now, just for giggles, I'm going to put this on here. That's the magnetic one. That's level. And okay, that's level. This isn't. Let's see if we can find a spot on here. There we go. There's a spot where everything's level. Okay, and we need to know that because we're trying to keep things true. We check there, the table. We know where it is, okay? It's within reason, we can work with it. Let's put this back on. Okay. All right. Yes, I'm moving stuff all over the place, but okay, now let's get that on there. Get it to snap into place. Then we can level it. Okay. Reinstall the scope, tighten it up. We'll get the rifle level. It's not even close right now. The bench is off a little bit. Like I said, I can kind of manipulate the bench a little bit, which is kind of funny, but to get this level. Okay, I've got the scope on, except for I have to tighten it. So we will do that. So I get each side set to a certain point so that they're even as far as tightness goes, tension, etc. Because we want them to be even. And I do it incrementally on each side. And the scope should return to where it was when I took it off. Again, I'm going by tension, by feel. I don't have a Torx wrench here with me. I've done this enough that I have a general idea of where I need it to be for the right tension, for the right torque, which is 60 foot-pounds, or 60 inch-pounds. Okay. Okay, so what I've done is I've used the middle screw on the rings and I've turned the bolt so that it is pointing. The top of the bolt is pointing. I've done that over here as well. This is level and that's level. That's level. that is off. Okay, so now what I need to do now is I'm going to use my trusty little spyglass here, the magnifying glass, and I am going to use a reference point across the way. I'm going to watch all my levels. Okay, get everything level, level, level. And yes. It is the scope. The scope has to be moved. Okay. All right, we'll loosen the rings. Do the X pattern and then across. Okay. That one's nice and loose. Okay. We'll do this one. And we'll do the level. Okay. Okay, so checking the table again. Okay, looks good. That looks good. Okay. So I've got things so I can move them. I can move the scope in the rings, and I can move the level on the scope. It's a little tight. Little tight. Want a little looser than that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so again, the rifle is as level as I can make it in accordance. Okay, the table is level. The rifle is level. Okay, all right, that's good. That's good. We won't bump anything as much as we can. That's going to tell us we're good now. Now, okay, so way off, way off. So we will turn this. And that is perfect there. Now, what I need to do, so I'm going to set the level to go with the, there we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get behind the gun, use my reference point, and just try to make sure that everything looks good and that the reticle lines up with the reference point and all three levels. Okay. I need these. No, I can do it. I can see. Okay, level, level, level. I'm going to call that good. So, now, okay, so everything moved, the rifle moved. We'll get things level, level, level. Now, the important one first is the scope in the rings. When you're doing this, you can actually turn the scope with how you tighten the rings. It will move, and you'll see it in the level. So let's get set up to show you that. So if you can see the level, which you can, okay. So like I said, level there, level here, table's level, okay. Not worried about this right now, but it's level, but I still have to tighten things up. So right now the important thing is, as you tighten, you can move the scope. So what I do is get the first one till there's just a touch of tension. I get the second one till there's just a touch of tension. I do this all the way around, everywhere. Because from this point on, we have to make sure that things are tight. So now this gap here in the rings, a lot of people get all itchy and scratchy if it's not the same all the way around. And yes, there is some validity to that. It's mostly cosmetic. My biggest thing is this tight? Is it evenly tight? Is it working? Okay. So, and as you do it, you watch your levels. You watch all your levels. You know, what would happen if you're watching this one, everything looks good, and then you look up all of a sudden, oh, what the hell, right? So, now you notice I haven't done the middle row yet, because the outside corners is what really holds this down. Those are extra pressure. Once I get this to the point I feel good about it, then I'll tighten those down. Look again. Okay, that's good. That's good, that's good. Yep, okay. Just check this one the last time. Okay. We're gonna hold the rifle, and we are going to move the level. So what I'm doing is I'm squeezing these ends together and moving it. I want the bottom of it to be level. It's funny how, because the rifle's on an angle, okay? The rifle's not sitting flat this way. So when you turn these, it's a trigonometry and geometry thing. Physics, maybe even. Okay, so I'm going to start tightening this up. Now, okay, I got that where I want it to be, and I'm watching everything, and I'm tightening, and again, as you tighten these, you can turn the ring. You can move the scope, move the ring with this. It will actually torque things, okay? So it's a balancing act. That's what I do. Okay, I watch all of my levels as I do it. The other thing about this is normally you always have to do it. but you always have to shoot the rifle after you've reattached the scope to make sure everything is still right. I have found that if I'm careful about how I attach the rifle at all the different points, usually when I go to test fire again, it's not off. Maybe one click, sometimes two, but not even that all the time. Okay, there we go. Now I can get ready to do the next rifle. And one last thing I always do, again, I just get down behind the gun and I check my reference point. And I check my level. And again, I've got my magnifying glass here so that I can see my level. And I'm going to call that good.